Funding for the Nashville podcast comes from the neurosurgeons of the Howell Allen Clinic, national leaders in brain and spine surgery, specializing in laser brain tumor surgery and robotic spine surgery. The Howell Allen Clinic. Your life is our life's work.
This is the Nashvillager podcast. It's July 29th, 2026. On this day in 1847, a relatively new university in Middle Tennessee did something no other institution on this side of the Appalachian Mountains had done before. It founded a law school. I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee with context and backstory from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. Cumberland University was founded in Lebanon in 1842, and just 5 years later, it expanded to offer a formal curriculum of legal education. Work began to organize the law school in late summer. Classes started in October, meeting in a law office on West Main Street. That was an exceedingly modern step for the era. Across the United States, there were only 15 law schools in operation at that time. Most people who wanted to become attorneys instead learned through a kind of apprenticeship, assisting a credentialed lawyer until they knew enough to practice on their own. The Cumberland students may have initially learned in the physical space of a law office, but they followed a curriculum that was quite different from any apprenticeship. They learned to recite legal code, took daily exams, and above all, they practiced arguing cases against each other in moot court over and over again. That continued to be the case as the school grew and moved into its own facility on the university campus. Those next 2 decades were a time when small law schools were founded all over the U.S., but most of them floundered and dissolved almost as quickly as they were created. Cumberland held steady until the war. Classes were placed on indefinite pause once the Civil War began. The campus itself was destroyed. In 1866, Cumberland pulled the pieces back together again, holding classes in various buildings scattered all over Lebanon, working to rebuild their facilities. The law school struggled, and its program was cut down to just 1 year of classes. As legal education in America went through a major rethinking, Cumberland law stayed stuck in old ways for a long time, which isn't to say nothing good happened. The class of 1891 included a student who went on to be a national leader. Cordell Hull became a congressman, a senator, a judge, the longest-serving U.S. Secretary of State, and won a Nobel Peace Prize for his part in founding the United Nations. All of that built on an old-fashioned 1-year law degree. Eventually, in 1951, Cumberland University and its law school split up to be separate institutions. And in the 60s, Cumberland Law relocated. It left its hometown of Lebanon and moved to Birmingham, Alabama. It became part of the college now known as Samford University, and it's still in operation there now, still using the Cumberland name. These days, the Mid-State is still one of the best places to be in Tennessee if you want to become a lawyer. The Tennessee Bar Association lists a total of 6 law schools statewide. Half of them are in Nashville. Belmont and Vanderbilt universities both operate law programs. And there's also the independent Nashville School of Law, which started more than a century ago as a night school run through the YMCA. But that's a story for another day. In just a few minutes, this week's edition of What We're Wednesday is coming up after the newscast.
Funding for the Nashville podcast comes from the neurosurgeons of the Howell Allen Clinic, national leaders in brain and spine surgery, specializing in laser brain tumor surgery and robotic spine surgery. The Howell Allen Clinic. Your life is our life's work.
I like to say Nashvillager in the morning, this is Nashville in the afternoon. I'm Blake Farmer, the new host, and yes, WPLN's Midday Show is also a podcast, and we understand lunchtime listening may not be your thing, but that doesn't mean you have to sit out. You can listen wherever you get your podcast, like right here, or ask your smart speaker to play the latest episode of This is Nashville.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn is threatening legal action against a dark money group funding AI attack ads against her. WPLN's Mariana Bacchiao reports that's against Tennessee's new anti-AI law.
In this ad, paid for by the American Exceptionalism Institute, an AI-generated Marsha Blackburn can be seen smiling as this jingle plays.
Marsha Blackburn's the queen farmer mama who's ready to sell.
The ad doesn't mention Blackburn's run for governor or support another candidate in the race. Instead, it asks voters to call a number and tell Blackburn to stop, quote, selling out Tennessee. The ad references a 2016 law that Blackburn sponsored, which made it easier for patients to receive pain medication, but it also made it harder for the DEA to inspect suspicious shipments of powerful narcotics. At the time, Blackburn's office said that Congress could revisit the unintended consequences that had on the opioid crisis. This ad comes nearly a decade later as Blackburn leads the GOP race for governor. A spokesperson says 2 TV stations have already pulled the ad, as her campaign has given the dark money group 48 hours to stop airing it, arguing that it amounts to slander. Mariana Bacallao, WPLN News.
During the last few days of early voting in Tennessee's primaries, President Donald Trump is campaigning for Congressman Andy Ogles. Ogles faces a well-funded challenger in former State Agriculture Commissioner Charlie Hatcher. In a tele-rally last night, Trump called on his base in Tennessee to head to the polls for Ogles.
And I'm asking all of you to get out and vote for Andy Ogles. He's been a friend of mine. He's been a terrific guy. I gave him a very early endorsement.
While Ogles benefited from that early endorsement, former Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam made a late race endorsement in favor of Hatcher. Haslam has financially supported previous Republican challengers to Ogles, but Hatcher marks his first endorsement. The endorsement, paired with internal polling from the Hatcher campaign, shows a close race for the new 5th congressional district. Time has run out for thousands of Haitian and Syrian immigrants in Tennessee under Temporary Protected Status, or TPS. This enabled hundreds of thousands of Haitian and Syrian immigrants to live and work legally in the U.S. because of violence or natural disaster in their home country. By ending the program, they become vulnerable to arrest and deportation by ICE. Businesses are also worried about losing a key part of their workforce, especially those with decades of experience. Immigration and refugee rights advocates in Tennessee are asking residents to check on their neighbors who may be facing these challenges. They also ask that people consider supporting organizations that provide legal support. Yet another group is calling for a death penalty moratorium in Tennessee after the failed execution of Tony Carruthers in May. This time, it's doctors and nurses. WPLN's Catherine Sweeney tells us why.
Under Tennessee's lethal injection protocol, the hired-on doctor's role is mostly passive. They make sure the person is actually deceased, then call time of death. That is, unless the lower-ranking medical staff aren't successful in placing an IV. That happened during the attempted execution of Tony Carruthers. Then, the doctor is tasked with placing a central line in a deeper vein just above the heart. The doctor on site that day tried several times to carry out the procedure and ultimately failed. Dr. John Greer, a retired Nashville hematologist, says that was probably because it's not an easy task.
Placing a central line is not just sticking a needle in a person's arm, and it's highly risky unless you're doing them routinely. And I cannot imagine that there would be someone who's doing these routinely who would be involved in this procedure.
Doctors aren't supposed to participate in executions, according to ethical standards set by the American Medical Association. Greer and dozens of other Tennessee doctors and nurses signed a letter saying that this means only, quote, unscrupulous health workers will sign up for the very hard job. They're asking the state to pause executions and find a way to conduct them without medical professionals. Catherine Sweeney, WPLN News.
The next execution, that of Anthony Darrell Hines, is scheduled for August 13th. Krista Pike is set to be put to death in late September. Both have medical conditions that compromise their veins, and defense attorneys have raised concerns that they will likely need central lines placed. A property owner in Rutherford County is pushing back against officials who want to build a new jail and sheriff's office on their 52-acre plot. Officials recently voted to move forward with eminent domain to condemn and pay for the land known as the Old Fairgrounds. But a letter from an attorney to the county raises several concerns with the process and asks officials to reconsider. The property owner says the county is undervaluing the land by at least several $1 million and potentially as much as $20 million. The owner also points to Rutherford County leaders previously making a higher dollar offer back in the spring. Meanwhile, the property is under contract for sale. The National Urban League Convention starts today in Nashville at the Music City Center. The organization is dedicated to economic empowerment and social justice for African Americans and other marginalized groups. President Clifton Harris says the mission is especially timely when so many feel disenfranchised.
We need organizations like the Urban League as our civil rights legislation is under attack, trying to roll back, and also many things in all of the civil rights era that people really fought for and all to get on the books as policies.
Convention will include college reps, financial advisors, health screenings, and free school supplies, among many other services. The sessions are free, and WeGo is offering rides to the convention. Harris says everyone should get involved.
We need a team of volunteers and to mobilize so that we can do the work that needs to be done here in Tennessee, because our legislators, they're not playing with it, and we don't need to play with it either.
Saturday is the final day at the convention and includes Family Day from 10 to 3. Well, there are a lot of things to do in downtown Nashville, but not a lot of places to use the restroom unless you're a paying customer. The Nashville Downtown Partnership and Pillars Development have partnered to study how to best add public restrooms in the city's central hub. In a press release, they say that's an important part of keeping downtown clean, welcoming, and accessible. They're taking public comment during the study, and the first public meeting will be held August 11th at the Downtown Presbyterian Church at 6 p.m.
You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org.
Do you love musicals? How about a musical about a musical? Marquise can tell you about it.
I'm Marquise Munson, here with another edition of Nashville Public Radio's What Were Wednesday, keeping you up to date with the happenings in Nashville this week. Starting tonight, Music City Roots is at Harkin Hall, featuring M.T. Jones, and Hillary Duff performs at First Bank Amphitheater, and another show at Ascend on Thursday. Also on Thursday night, Ryman with Emma Osier is at the Blue Room, and on Friday, Michiganders Over Before You Know It album signing and in-store performance is at Grimey's. On Saturday, Bob Dylan and Lucinda Williams perform at Ascend, and wrap up this week's listings Tuesday with Metric and Broken Social Scene at the Ryman, and Tame Impala and Joe take the stage at Bridgestone Arena. For more events, head over to WNXP.org/events. This week for What Were Wednesday, we feature Showmance, a musical about a musical, by the Theater Bug at Nashville School of Arts, Roxy Theater, this Thursday through Sunday. The Theater Bug's mission is to inspire young people to create community, build confidence, and encourage them through educational experiences in the performing arts.
My name is Corey Ann Lamel, and I am the Managing Artistic Director and founder of The Theater Bug. The Theater Bug is a 15-year-old 501c3 nonprofit organization that does original plays and musicals with kids kindergarten through 12th grade year-round. There's a lot of things that kind of make us special, but I think one of the things that really makes us stand out is that we try to pair art and advocacy hand in hand. So our kids are coming to learn how to sing and dance and act, but we're also kind of hoping that they're learning how to be better, kinder, more empathetic people. So what we do is we choose social issues that our kids are interested in talking about and learning more about, and we find other nonprofits in Nashville that serve those communities. So we've done shows about kids with special needs. We've done shows about suicide prevention. We've done shows about grief and about bullying and about all manner of things that these kids are facing every single day in their schools and their home lives. And they help us to create original scripts that kind of help our audiences learn more about these communities, but in a way that I think sometimes when somebody comes to see a show with a message, if they've already formed an opinion, it can be hard to change a mind or a heart. But when you have kids that have actually lived these experiences and they are telling you from their own lived experience, from their heart, what's happened to them and how you can help to advocate and love them better, it's pretty hard not to listen. So I think that that's a thing that makes us really special. And also the shows are great. Showmance is a musical about a musical. So it's kind of our backstage tour to what being in a play is like, to what being a part of the Theater Bug is like. It's a big old love letter to my students. So many of these characters are based on them and things that they have said and funny moments that they've had. But a lot of it was also based on my own experiences growing up in children's theater. Really the first time I had like an independent sense of belonging, that I walked into a room on my own and thought I really fit here. I was not a super academic kid and I was not an athletic kid. And so to walk into a space where it was like, gosh, I can work really hard and do this really well. And the people are amazing. That was a huge deal for me. It changed my life. It really inspired me to want to create a space like the one I had grown up in. And then the second part of it is looking at these kids and their experiences and the hilarious and weird things that they say, and also the hilarious and weird things that come along with just being a part of theater in general. But don't worry, you don't have to be a theater person to enjoy this. I think as much as it feels like one big inside joke for theater people, it really is like a sneak peek into that world for people that don't know anything about it. And it's very fun and very funny. And you'll probably learn a couple of things before you leave. It's a real crowd pleaser. Kids are wildly talented. The music is really fun, and you're going to laugh and you're going to feel big feelings, and it's just going to feel like a celebration. And I hope that you will come and celebrate with us. It's been a huge year for the Theater Bug. We're about to move into our own building. We're in the building process right now, which is like 15 years in the making, which is very exciting. And this just was the perfect show to choose during this time where we are really celebrating this thing that we've built in our community that I feel really proud of. So come celebrate with us.
For more information on the Theater Bug's production of Showmance and other events happening this week, visit WNXP.org. My name is Marquise Munson, and thank you for listening to another edition of What Were Wednesday.
I feel like a stranger, think I might have gone missing. I've been Colorado smoking while I'm cutting through the kitchen. All my friends are on the couch with their chandelier smile.
Thanks for listening to the Nashvillager podcast. We take this look at Nashville news every weekday. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and tell a friend or give us a mention on your socials. It really helps get the word out. And of course, everything at WPLN News is listener supported. You can become a member at WPLN.org. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one, and we'll catch back up tomorrow.
Funding for the Nashvillager podcast comes from the neurosurgeons of the Howell Allen Clinic, national leaders in brain and spine surgery, specializing in laser brain tumor surgery and robotic spine surgery. The Howell Allen Clinic. Your life is our life's work.